I've cracked the code. I figured out why I get so burnt out on this game. And this is how we fix it. Disclaimer, no Wizards of the Coast products were harmed in the making of this video. 5th edition DMing is overwhelming! See, if I was wanting to host most other tabletop games, I would just look at the 4-page instruction booklet, read it in about 5 to 10 minutes, and start playing. Could I pull off Matthew Mercer levels of Clue playing? Maybe not. But hey, at least we're immediately playing the game. But if I was to wipe my memory of all the DM knowledge I've acquired over the decade and learned how to be a dungeon master the way Wizards of the Coast intended for me to in this book, hang on. I would be overwhelmed as a newbie at all the responsibility I'm apparently supposed to have to run these games well. Just look at the first page here. Once again, no Wizards of the Coast products were harmed in the making of this video. The Dungeon Master's Guide says I'm supposed to be an architect of a campaign, a storyteller, an actor, and a referee? No wonder there's a DM shortage and dozens of D&D tubers covering burnout over the years. No Wizards of the Coast products were harmed in the making of this video. Look at all these skills I'm supposed to be proficient with. My background as an upper-lower class millennial only gave me enough biting sarcasm and just enough income to buy the next expansion book instead of a loving home for my affordable family. Look, honey, they have the limited edition in stock.
I want a divorce.
DMing is often a thankless job. And if you follow the Dungeon Master's Guide advice on how to start, you won't find any quick explanation on running your first game. Instead, the first few chapters are about more important things like figuring out who the gods are in your world. Take that, atheists. And how to create a multiverse. Your players are showing up in an hour and you haven't even sketched out the inner planes yet? What kind of wannabe DM are you?
I'm not ready yet!
But deficient! We have the internet now! You can learn how to DM from all sorts of D&D tubers! And to that, I say, yeah, that's how I learned in the beginning. And it was overwhelming! If I wanted to play Monopoly, I don't think I should have to watch a 4-hour Let's Play to figure out how the game works. So why should D&D get a pass? When I started consistently DMing, I would walk away from my games absolutely exhausted.
Hey, you. You're finally awake. You were trying to cross the border, right?
So I did what most of you do, and I watched all of them DM burnout videos. And yes, there's plenty of good advice in all of them. But it wasn't until years later when I found this one little piece of advice, a shift in mindset, if you will, that stopped my repeating cycle of running great games only to get stressed out and burnt out and then sit in as a player for a while before my DMing obsession took a hold of me again. And I don't know, maybe this will help you enjoy your games as much as it's helped me. Let's go back to our list of DM responsibilities according to the Dungeon Master's Guide. What if I told you that one of these roles in particular is leeching off your enjoyment of dungeon mastering? And while it might not be apparent, it is feeding off your creativity and keeps you second-guessing after every game if the players really did have a good time. A lot of these skills listed here are helpful, but one, well, I think it's harmful. That's right. One of these things is not like the other. One of these things doesn't belong. Can you tell? It's storyteller. I believe that telling DMs that they are storytellers sets them up for failure. Because when I thought I had to be a good storyteller, I looked up everything storytelling related, like plot, character arcs, themes, 3-act structure, the hero's journey, and all this other save the cat stuff.
Are you kidding me?
See, storytelling in the traditional sense does not work for our game, because we're not writing a story for things like a novel or a script. Because we have this unique situation where in our hobby, our audience, the players, are also our leading actors. If they were just one or the other, yeah, you could craft all the scenes and twists and control the pacing from the beginning to end. But this game goes deeper than that. We can't think of the game in terms of this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this, because our audience may decide that the actors want to zig instead of zag. And now everything we've planned is in the trash. Does that mean there's no story in our game? No! Story is what happens after the game, when the players tell their friends about that time they beat that white dragon by enlarging the barbarian and he rode it like a bull rider before hog-tying it with his bare hands. I did that in my brother's game. I thought it was pretty cool. What you need to do in your game prep as well as at the table is shift your mindset to change the word story in your vocabulary with the word situation or scenario. Scenario. I don't know. That was Justin Alexander, who originally wrote the Don't Prep Plots article on his blog The Alexandrian years ago. Link below. When I took that piece of advice and prepared scenarios placed in their starting positions instead of a series of plots with a branching butterfly effect in my head, I found the game way more enjoyable and less stressful to run and prepare. Because now, I'm discovering the game along with my players as they react to my scenarios. But Deficient, wouldn't that require a lot of improv? It may require more improv than you might be comfortable with at first, but not nearly as much improv as you're trying to course correct your players on a predetermined plot of yours. There's plenty of systems you can put in your game to make improv a lot easier, but that's a topic for another video. Tell you what, 1,000 likes and I'll make that video immediately. Yeah, I'm that kind of YouTuber now. But when you lay down this responsibility of having to be a storyteller for your game, you don't have to juggle story structure or character arcs or make sure that there's combat over here and there's a roleplay opportunity over there. You're giving the players more autonomy to how they want to react to your scenarios. Your only concern is the here and now, rather than the later that will probably never come, because your players decided to zag instead of zig. Just try this for one game. Plan out 3 scenarios, but only put those scenarios in their starting positions rather than thinking about all of the what-ifs in your planning. Throw your favorite one at your players in the first 10 minutes of the game, use how they reacted to your scenario as inspiration to how the rest of the world responds to them, and then tell me how wrong I am in the comments below. Look, if you just try to release yourself of the burden of a storyteller, you might find that your table is telling better stories as a result. But if you're still wondering about this whole DMing thing, I've got my best piece of advice right up here. That's all I got for now. See ya.